In 2017, your life changed again when you invented the neck hammock. What was the process of taking that from idea to first having a prototype?
One day I was working out in the gym and I tweaked my neck doing handstand push-ups, and I was extremely frustrated because this has happened multiple times before. And the one thing that I learned in physical therapy school was cervical traction. Whenever my neck would hurt, cervical traction would always help me. But the machines were always, big and bulky and super expensive. And so in my head, I was like, well, how can I recreate the cervical traction right now that I don't need a machine? So I just grabbed a thick resistance band, wrapped it around a pole, wrapped it around the back of my head, and I laid down for 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, my neck pain was gone. So I knew that I was onto something. And so the developing of it was I had to find an industrial designer, and thank goodness for the internet to let me know that that's what I needed, where a guy that I worked with on a project in Florida for other inventions that I started, I'd already had a contact with him. So I basically gave him, my general ideas. And then going back to the environment thing, a buddy of mine introduced me to another guy in town who had hookups with suppliers and other industrial designers that he swore by. And it was just this slow process over time where we started with an idea and would test, retest. And again, as a physical therapist, every single one of my patients at the end of their session would be like, I just created this thing, why don't you try it out for 10 minutes and let me know what you think. And so I had hundreds of data of feedback on the foam is too uncomfortable, the bands are too flexible, whatever. I had all this data that was coming in that people luckily were very honest with me. So I just kept making changes based on all those things. And so it was a process that took much, much longer than I ever thought it would, but it ended up turning out.
Yeah, that's the research you did yourself was much better than any focus group that you could pay to go and get that done with a bunch of randoms.
Yeah.